Republican presidential nominee Mitt Romney attacking Donald Trump over tax returns he has thus far refused to release. Joining us right now is West Virginia Senator Shelley Moore Capito. Good to see you. Thanks so much for joining us, Senator.
Good morning. Nice to be on. Thank you, Maria.
Do you think there's a bombshell coming from Donald Trump and his taxes?
You know, I really don't know, but I do think he needs to release them, and I think he needs to release them soon. I think the American public expect that. And so hopefully, you know, the pushes that are coming towards him to release them will cause him to do this. It does give you an indication of how much taxes he's been paying, what kind of charitable giving, all those kinds of things I think the American people are entitled to see.
Dagan, you think we'll get those tax returns?
We're eventually going to have to get them, but why does he need to give his enemies ammunition at this point? I said that he's going to wait until he's got so much momentum heading into the year and maybe even clinches the nomination, and then he'll release them.
That could be. I mean, he could be stalling a little bit. I mean, I've heard him say that, you know, they're working through it and all that, and I'm sure it's very complicated. I'm sure it'll be a strategic decision, but I do think in the end he's going to have to release them, and in my view, it's always sooner than later is always better.
Senator, we've got Anastasia Amoroso from JP Morgan here this morning. Anastasia.
Hello, Senator. I mean, you said it's complicated, but what actually is so complicated? Because one of the points that Mitt Romney made is that these are not future tax returns, these are past tax returns. I mean, how complicated can it really be?
Well, you know, I don't know. I'm not a billionaire. So, you know, I would just imagine that there's all kinds of, you know, forms and deductions and different, you know, pass-throughs and everything else that he's availed himself of. I don't know. Mine isn't that complicated, but yeah. I just think he needs to get on with it, quite frankly. If there's something bad in it, it's better to find out now.
Yeah. Senator, let me move on and ask you about the Antonin Scalia seat. Of course, reports that President Obama is vetting Republican Nevada Governor Brian Sandoval to be his pick to replace Scalia. You say the next president should make the nomination. What would be wrong with vetting the governor of Nevada?
You know, I think that we are in such a divisive time right now. We're in this hot election year. I don't want a lame duck president making a lifetime appointment for the Supreme Court. I think you've heard other former leaders, Vice President Biden, when he was a senator, made the same sort of statements. I think whoever is elected and the people's voice is heard in November, whether it's a Republican or Democrat, should make that nomination as soon as they are become president. I think that would be in the best interest of the court. These are going to be important decisions that are going to be made by this court, especially when you see the split at 4-4. So I'd rather see us move forward and have that nomination put forward in January.
Do you worry that this is going to make the Senate look bad and the Judiciary Committee look like it's more politics? I mean, that's one question. And the other question is, obviously, we're seeing a fight to the end, to the president's last days in office. Who out there is going to unify this country and bring us together?
Well, I think that's the crux of the question for the next election. But do I worry that this would make the Senate look dysfunctional? You know, that's a slight worry for me. But I also think that because it's such an important decision, I think the American people understand, you know, that the president can't make a political nomination and we can't make a political statement in return. So I think it's just better to just wait, and then we'll have the full trust of the American people.
Should Mitch McConnell have waited before saying anything? I mean, it just feels like if you weren't going to vet anybody anyway, wouldn't it have been better to just not even raise the subject? But now it looks like, well, you know, the Senate is, you know, obstructionists.
You know, I think that's a strategic decision that Senator McConnell made. For one plus of it, in my view, is it's a very certain decision. And I don't think that any of us question his resolve in terms of holding back on this. And so for us, I think that provides us some certainty in the Senate. It will set up, and you've already seen this, disagreements, but we're going to move forward through this.
Senator, here's Jerry Baker from the Wall Street Journal.
Senator, good morning.
Good morning.
Two of your colleagues in the Senate are still running for president, and you know, they're facing an uphill struggle according to all the polls. Do you think one of them should drop out in favor of the other so that it becomes a straight contest between Donald Trump and one of them?
You know, I think that Super Tuesday coming up is going to really separate a few more of our candidates out. I'm on the side of this has been an exciting primary season. We've got more people voting, more people coming to rallies, higher turnout. younger people voting. So there's a lot of enthusiasm here. I don't expect either one of them to drop out after Super Tuesday if the results come in as we predict. But it surely would be nice to narrow the field to 2, because when you watch the Democrat debates and it's just one-on-one, it's so much more informative and meaningful and detailed, I think, because you can really get to the crux of a lot of the topics.
Senator, yeah.
In your own state, Donald Trump seems, again, according to polls, does seem to have strong support, particularly among a lot of white working-class voters who feel somehow very frustrated with the political process. What's the mood? How are voters looking in your state?
You know, the state of West Virginia has been decimated under this administration. We are a heavy coal state. We have lost thousands of jobs. Our schools are losing students. I can't even over-describe the despair that we feel, and really the administration just sort of slapping us around. So we want somebody that's going to revitalize us, that's going to make us connect to the internet, you know, build our infrastructure, have jobs of the future, transition and have more cleaner and more efficient coal. And so I think that's not going to be Hillary Clinton. So I think a Republican will definitely win West Virginia. And, you know, if it's Donald Trump, he'll win West Virginia.
And you support, just very quickly, you would support Donald Trump if he's the Republican nominee?
I support somebody who's going to get West Virginia back on its feet, and I also support somebody who's going to beat Hillary Clinton, yes.
We'll leave it there. Senator, good to talk with you. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
We appreciate it. It's Senator Shelley Moore Capito joining us there in